The leader of one of Afghanistan's most feared armed groups has reportedly said he is willing to join peace talks. Reuters news agency is quoting Sirajuddin Haqqani saying that he will talk to the government and to the US if the Afghan Taliban also attends. He also said the Haqqani network no longer has any bases in Pakistan. Well, the Haqqani network is allied with the Afghanistan Taliban, but it often operates independently. The US says the group controls large parts of tribal Pakistan and that it's responsible for some of the most lethal attacks against NATO targets. That Haqqani group is also a sticking point in US-Pakistan relations. The Americans accuse Pakistan of supporting the network. Well, it was founded initially by the veteran fighter Jalaluddin Haqqani, but his son, Sirajuddin, is now the military commander. Well, the US has also blamed the Haqqani network for planning the attack on Kabul's diplomatic district last week, an attack which turned into a 20-hour siege. Heavily armed fighters launched rocket-propelled grenades at the US embassy and NATO headquarters and fought gun battles with Afghan security forces. 3 suicide bombers also blew themselves up at the time. 5 Afghan police and 11 civilians, including children, were killed. Well, for more on this story, I'm joined by Talat Mahsood, who's a former Lieutenant General in Pakistan's army. Thank you for being with us. Just put this in some context for us, if you would. If this is true, if Haqqani is willing now to talk, would it be a significant game changer in the current status quo?
Of course, it would be an extremely important development, something very significant, as you rightly describe it. Because Haqqani group is one of the most lethal, one of the most dangerous groups, and the Americans consider him to be practically the #1 enemy. Even they give him greater importance in terms of his lethality to the Taliban. So from that point of view, it would be a very major development, and also the fact that the Pakistanis have been under extreme pressure, the Pakistan military, that they should take action in North Waziristan to wipe off the sanctuaries in which supposedly he has been and his whole Lashkars have been living there. So I think this announcement of his, both in terms of saying that he is not in Pakistan, also is to placate Pakistan and also to reduce pressure on Pakistan.
Well, from your sense and your knowledge of these circumstances, how sincere do you think this particular suggestion might be, and what might have prompted it?
Well, I think it is the pressure from Pakistan also, which must have been a very important factor in his trying to come to terms regarding dialogue. That is different, that this dialogue may not ultimately prove to be very productive, but the very fact that he has made an announcement is by itself something very important, because these people had thought that with the withdrawal of the American and NATO forces, all they had was the complete field to themselves. But I think they are realizing that that is not so, and Pakistan is also not willing to give them any more a place within Pakistan, because Pakistan is suffering enormously as a result of Haqqani's presence. The relations between Pakistan and US are at its lowest, and one of the reasons is their presence.
It's hard to look at this in any way other than a sign of weakness, though, isn't it? I mean, what would he gain from talking?
Well, I think he realizes that after all, eventually he will have to talk and come to a political settlement, because all resistance ultimately means that you have to share power. And perhaps they think that they are in the best position as of now. Otherwise, it's quite possible that things might get very anarchic and chaotic in Afghanistan, where there is no agreement between the warring factions.
Talat Mahsood in Islamabad, thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.